Oh god, another sweltering day. So I've come down because I thought if I come down early, I'll give everything a good hosing through. Now, I've mentioned this before, you can't hose my allotment site off the direct mains, so you have to be inventive. And I've got my IBC tanks, which I collect all the rain through the seasons off the polytunnels, both sides into IBC tanks. So I've got 3 1,000 litre IBC tanks on the side of the polytunnel, plus a few barrels as well, which are interconnected. But when I was at Tony's at Simplified Gardening, he showed me his sump pump and how he moves water around his allotment plot. So I've got myself a 1,100 GPH gallons per hour bilge pump. I've connected it to some hose pipe, which I've got a fitment here so I can connect my main, my main hose pipe connection to it. And also I've connected a cigarette lighter here, which has got a fuse in it. Now I've actually added a cane here as well, because this is the right height for it to go to the bottom of the IBC tank, and also won't let any of the electricals go near the water. Yeah, let's get it done. So using one of my power generators, the cigarette light will fit in one of the ports, and it will give me so much power that I won't have to keep changing my batteries and stuff. So I normally use my little Bosch 18 pump if I'm moving a barrel of water or just doing a bit of watering on one area of the plot. But when I want to do the whole plot, there's a lot of juice in those power generators, and this will just keep going and going. So let's get everything hydrated. We've got heat coming in for up to 32, 33 degrees. The shade cloth is working amazing, honestly amazing. It's knocking around about 10 degrees off the polytunnel. And you might be thinking, why would you want to do that? Why would you want your polytunnel to be cooled down? Now, tomatoes actually only like heat around 30 degrees and maximum. They don't want to be sweltering in the heat, because obviously flower production, and that's when you'll get things like leaf curl and the plants start crisping up. So you want to try and keep that temperature a little bit cooler on times. So the tunnel is more beneficial to the overnight temperature, as it keeps it warmer in here before we get back to the morning where the sun comes back out. So having a bit of shade cloth that you can take off and put back on when we've got heat waves is fantastic, and is perfect. So let's give everything a good water. Let's go. So I've come over today because, as always, there's millions of things to do. It's a lot cooler, and I thought I'd come up through the other end of the site and have a little look at everyone else's progress. And it's actually nice, if you've got an allotment, just to wander around now and again, and you see how some people are doing things a different way to you, and maybe you can change it next year and improve. So no garden is ever perfect, but today I'm going to spend the whole day, since the sun is actually hiding behind the clouds, and get all those jobs that I've been putting off because of that intense heat. I've been over a few times this week, and I'm sure I'll show you that through this video. But for now, we've got issues in the polytunnel. So if you remember, a few months ago I had a suspicion about these melon plants that I put in. They were labelled as melon, and technically it's true. However, I think this is a cucumber plant, and they look lovely. They're quite small, tiny little melons, but you got a lot of them, but I just don't like them. I don't know if you like them, but I don't. I've tried them before and they're a lovely novelty and they look great, but they become this big vining mess. And as much as I have grown this on for quite a while, it's coming out. So that's out, and I mean, sometimes you need to be brutal in the garden. A lot of people think, oh, because I've invested in that, I must try and try. If it's not working or it's not to your taste, then remove it or give it to someone else. So that cucumber plant's out. I've got a bottle gourd to go in there anyway, so that's perfect. I've got quite a bit of space in, some climbing trellis spare now. It's nobody's fault. You know, they were bought from the garden centre and they actually had melon written on them, like so, and it's quite generic. It just tells you how to plant a melon. So yeah, that was a bit naughty of them. But I've got another melon plant in here anyway. I was hoping to have a good crop of melons this year, but this one's doing okay. This one's doing okay. There's actually melons on it, so I'm hopeful for it anyway. I'm very hopeful. But we've got space for the bottle gourd now. I want to try and clear out some of this bed. The lettuces have gone over now in here as well, and also the bush beans. So while I clear that out, let me show you what I did in the onion bed. And the onions in this bed now are starting to die off a bit. I mean, they're starting to flop over a bit. It won't be long now, I think. Another couple of days and I'll be harvesting these. And some of them are absolute beauties. So we've made a bit of a boo-boo in the garden. So I plan to have just one dedicated leek bed, but also have a few of the northern lights over on the fig and olive plot as a fail-safe. However, I forgot that I did another variety called Blue Soleils. So I figured what better place than this gap that I have in this bed. I'll pop a few in there and we'll see how they get on. I have a sneaky suspicion though that these ones will grow better than those. They'll have direct sun. This has been well fed, and the beans are actually, you know, shadowing a bit of that bed until they come out in autumn. Right, let's get them in. Just going to give it a quick weed just to get a few out that just keep coming back, and we're good to go. Now I was wondering what to do with this bit of space here, and I can see the sprouts are starting to form, so take off a few of the leaves, and I think we might be able to get in 3, 6, 9, maybe 12 in here. That'll be okay to try them, and maybe I'll find some space somewhere else. But I mean, I don't really need about 200 leeks that I've planted, but hey ho. Firm the soil down a bit, because what happens is once you push this into the ground, you don't want all the soil concaving in straight away. God, it's humid today, very, very humid. Now I want to try these ones because they've got a really nice colour blue to them, and apparently they're more frost hardy, so they don't stress as much apparently, so we're going to give them a go. Now you want to try and get the thickest ones, ideally pencil thickness, and yeah, any kind of weak ones just disregard really, unless you've got space for them. And I mean, you can harvest them later on I suppose, but it's better to try and get the best ones. It's much easier when the soil is like this. This is a no dig bed, they're not over there, so they're very, very firm, and on occasions I have to use a hammer just to get to the depth I wanted, because it's formed this crust on the top over there now due to all this heat. Right, drop them in. Leeks are so easy to grow as well. I mean, they don't need much maintenance either. I'll cover these, obviously these ones already are over here, but those ones will be netted in September, October, November, and then just to prevent them from getting allium leaf miner, and after that they're good to go. Some people though, especially new gardeners, they have something called gardener's guilt, where because they've grown a plant on for so long, they don't want to cull it, they want to give it a chance. And later on, once you get used to it, you can cull away. I mean, you're taking the strongest plants really, that's the ones you want. You want the strong plants to fight through all those elements and succeed. You don't want to be putting plants in that are going to struggle and then cause disease and affect the other plants. So the bottle gourds are in. They're not huge plants, but they'll be okay. Everything's been cleared out now. I mean, this bed is quite hydrated, to be honest, because I've got this dripper system in from the harvest water and irrigation. The long yard beans are actually romping up this now. They're almost 6 foot high, and it won't be long before we'll be getting some beans on there. I see Mal over at the veg plot man. He's put this in the greenhouse as well, and they have romped away. I'm so pleased for him, honestly. He's got long yard beans already on his plants, so hopefully it won't be long before these start taking over all this up here, I'm sure. And I'm hoping to have piles of long yard beans here, but the gourds are in. We'll see how they get on. They're not the biggest plants, but I'm hoping that they'll do okay here. I'm going to put a few chili plants at the front here now as well, see how they get on. And also I think I'm going to put my house tomato plant in here so that it's going to get a good water. Right, let's get it in. So these are my house tomato plants. Now I've seen a few people show their variations, but this is how I've always known it to be: quite dense, only about a foot high, compact, with loads of small tomatoes, and they become like a cherry size. But this is how I've always known house tomatoes. A few people have shown theirs, and they're quite tall and sprawling. Maybe it's cross-pollinated, but this is how I've always known them. And if anything, this is actually taller than I normally expect it to be. Normally it's about by here. So I'm going to take these out of here now, because they definitely need to be planted out somewhere better, because I'm struggling to water these, and also the chili plants, which are looking fantastic, by the way. I'll show you them in a minute. But yeah, let's get these in this bed. So I'm thinking of putting them one here. Yeah, this compost in this bed is very hydrated. It's really hydrated. Now under here, look, if I show you a house tomato plant. Let's take some of these dead leaves off, to be honest, because they're not good for no beast or man. So a bit yellowed, so I'll take them off the bottom. And to be honest, I might actually plant this a little bit deeper now. But if you look under here, there's got some lovely house tomatoes. Now these seeds are from Real Seeds. That's the only place I've really been able to find them. And this was suggested a few years ago by Malcolm Kingswell. So yeah, it'd be nice to get him in the bed. I think I'm going to plant this a little bit deeper, not too deep though, just to stop this rocking, because the wind comes through here. There we go. And I think I'm going to put the other one by here. You know, it's nice to dig down and use your hands and feel the soil underneath nice and wet rather than bone dry in a polytunnel and greenhouse, because it's quite hard to keep hydrated. But with a good irrigation system, you're good to go. There we go, house are in. I think I'm going to put a basket of fire on the edge here, and I'm wondering whether or not it'll cascade over this bed. So yeah, let's have a look. I mean, there's quite a lot on there already. I mean, they're doing well, but we'll see if we get any more. Now we've got this spare latar, and to be honest, it's not supposed to be like this. It is supposed to sprawl. So I'm going to take all this area here, I think, for the latar. And yeah, not that I need all these tomatoes, but save them suffering in a pot. It's better to get them in the ground. I think I am going to allow this to sprawl a little bit. This is not the best specimen I've had, but I've got ones at home that are doing much better. This was just a spare that I was a little bit cautious of getting rid of, just in case. I was keeping it as a plan C, but we'll see how we get on. And we've got a bell pepper here. These are all pretty much my spares, but I'm happy that they're growing well. I think that'll do there, I think. Do I put this one there? You know what, why not? There we go. Out with the old, in with the new. So I think I'm going to do a nice runner bean harvest now. I've seen quite a few on the vines, and they're definitely going to be cooked later on with some nice salted butter, some smoked bacon, and some new potatoes off the plot. So let's get the beans into a trug. I mean, that's not so bad. Look at that. I mean, there's a decent amount of beans in there now. I cannot wait for these, I honestly can't. And I think I'm going to harvest a pixie cabbage to fill up this trug. Now, they haven't actually lived up to their name. They are quite big, but I'm happy for it. I'm happy for it. I think it was like 14 or 15 in that little bed, and they have done amazing. So it just shows you can actually cram in a few more cabbage plants and get a good harvest. So let me come and show you the pixie cabbages. Now, I've already harvested 2 pixie cabbages and given them to friends, and they've said they're absolutely fantastic, but I want to try one myself. So let's get one out. I mean, they're pretty hefty cabbages. Let's get them out. Now, take the leaves off. I mean, they're supposed to be a tiny little cabbage that will feed 1 or 2 people, but I don't think that's actually what's happening here. Yeah, there's a few leaves rotting here, so maybe they're ready to come out. It's a nice cabbage though. There we go. Look at that. Let's give it a rinse. I mean, that's not bad at all, so that'll be popped in the trug. There we go. What else can we harvest? Now, I won't bore you by showing you me harvesting around the plot. While I do this, I actually met up with Jen from the Moorside Gardener. She was actually on holiday in our area, met her up for a coffee, went around the garden centre. Let me show you this beautiful garden centre in my area. So it was really nice to see Jen. How lovely is our garden centre? They even got chickens running around the garden centre as well, so I hope they don't do too much damage. It's starting to rain now, which I'm actually welcoming, but I've seen in this bed, well, some good news. We've got some broccoli coming, which is absolutely amazing news, and now the rain's coming as well, even better. Thank you, God. I mean, I've never been so happy to be stood in the garden with the rain coming down. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. After weeks and weeks of all this dry weather, I'm sure the plants are going to absolutely love this. It wasn't forecast today. Welcome back, rain. Oh, worst timing ever. I mean, I should have done the outdoor jobs first and then did the indoor ones when it's raining, but it wasn't forecast. But I'm happy this year. I've got a few things to do in the polytunnel, and when I say a few, a million things to do. But I've got these water features, and a few plot holders now have dropped them off, and they want me to convert it into a solar powered one rather than mains. And it's nice to go around the allotment site and see these all running, because running water is so important, I think, and just hearing it trickle as you go around sometimes when it's quite quiet here, it's very peaceful in the garden. And I suppose the one benefit around this rain is that the polytunnel will fill up the tanks a bit more, because they've been running a little bit low, especially the one on the right hand side, but it's working really well. It's working really well. I'm pleased with it, and I'm glad I've got 3 IBC tanks now. That's 3,000 litres of water, because I've seen a lot of places around the UK are actually getting hose pipe bans, and I'm worried about it happening here. I mean, I'm not worried today because it's tipping down with rain, but when you get heat waves, you start getting concerned that they're going to turn the water off. Have they turned the water off in your area? Let me know in the comments, you know, where you are. I've even seen places in Wales that are actually switching it off. Hose pipe bans are in, and I'm worried that that could happen here. I mean, if that happens, it's such a worry, you know, to try and water your plants that you've grown on for so long, but so far we've been okay. Don't jinx it, Danny. Right, audio book on. Let's get all these jobs done. Let's sort this tunnel out, and then I'll get back to you. So plan B, I've taken the basket of fire back out because I was looking through plants that needed to go out and it was spares, and my cucumber plant is not doing as well as it should have. I mean, by now I should be harvesting quite a lot of cucumbers, but it just didn't do it. And I found one right over in the corner, climbing up the back of the shelving unit, and I mean, it's looking pretty good. And I figured I may as well plant it here, build up a little trellis in this corner, and hopefully let the cucumbers climb up there like so. And if I put that one there, and then the next one I have to shorten a bit as well. hate snapping bamboos because I like to keep them all the right length, but it is what it is. Now it's only for a bit of support for the cucumber. So it's getting warm now. So many people have purchased these fans, and you know, I hope you're pleased with them, because I am. I absolutely love mine. I'll pop the link in the description for them again, but yeah, they're working fantastic, especially through that heat wave. An absolute godsend. Right, we need something like ooh, let's have a look. It's got a bit of an Indiana Jones feel to it. It's a shame that I didn't have any Hessian twine. I mean, that would have looked really cool, but this will do just the job. I mean, you don't need too many. I mean, the cucumber tends to do most of the work, but I want to give it some help on its way up these canes. I mean, by now I should be harvesting cucumbers, but I don't bother. I don't stress about it. If things don't work well in the garden, doesn't upset me or doesn't annoy me, I'm pretty chilled. I just think there's always next year. I mean, anything that I harvest from this garden is a bonus. This is hilarious. There we go. And make sure none of these are actually in my eye line, and that one is. So I'm going to bring it down a little bit, just in case. There we go. Either this will be a beautiful trellis for the cucumbers or a nice ladder for the rats. Here we go, job done. Cucumber. Very belated cucumber. God, one day I'll master cucumbers, honestly. There's a few things that always in the garden battle me, and when I master one, there's always another that I haven't quite got yet, and that's okay too, because it'd be boring otherwise, wouldn't it? Everything was perfect. There we go, and we'll go to there. Give this little guy a cable tie just to keep him up, because the wind does come through here, like I said. Here we are. Nice little cucumber ladder slash obstacle course for the rats. I actually really like that. I mean, it's just something novel. These little things in life, honestly, they do keep me going in the garden. I'm Danny, and this is Grow Up.